I'm Destiny Ibarra, and the discussion that I picked was when should being brain dead result in pulling the plug? Well, I wrote a little bit about it. We make life decisions every day, and it's just a part of growing up and having a responsibility. Some decisions are easy, and some are not so easy. But when it comes to decision to pull a plug on a loved one, for whatever the reason, will be probably one of the hardest decisions one will make in his or her lifetime. Trying to make the right decision can be a daunting task, all while the emotions are running and the adding pressure from family and even friends. Brain dead. Brain dead is a touchy subject and has been involved in our life some way or form. And it's never easy, but a decision must be made for the best interest of the injured or ill. It's a little research. Brain dead. Someone who is no longer having brain activity, or the brain stems having no electrical impulse being sent between brain cells. The brain is a coordinating center of the sensation, intellectual, and nervous activity. So when the brain stops, all major organs and functions will recede, and in most cases, once the organs start to shut down, the effects are reversible. Everyone will have their own thoughts and feelings on the subject, but to me, once the brain is dead, the soul is gone, and there is just a carcass. I found the article to be very interesting, and I have also learned that there is a difference between vegetation state and the brain death. Brain death is irreversible. In vegetation state, there is a chance of recovery. Further research show that 50% of those affected by the vegetating state 1 month after traumatic brain injury eventually recovers consciousness. They also have shown to have a slow course of recovery and usually have some ongoing cognitive and physical impairment or disabilities. After reading this article, even going further in research online, I have learned some very important and interesting facts on brain death, vegetation state, and comas. The brain is such an amazing and powerful organ that pretty much controls everything from our nervous system, body functions, vitals, speech, and memory. Without this, there is no life. So I can clearly say my decision would be to pull the plug only because my loved one is not literally laying on their deathbed. Making these decisions is something I hope I never have to do. Of course, we can all try to put ourselves in the scenarios and say what we think we would do. While educating and making oneself more aware will help. But I truly feel that until that day comes, you will never be prepared or ready. My family had to make a decision with my stepsister that she was pronounced brain dead, and there was just no coming back from it. The doctors tried to explain to her mother and to my stepmom and her husband, and her mom wanted her to stay on the machine for a while, but her husband decided it was just time to pull the plug, and they were kind of like fighting about it because of course you don't want to lose a loved one at all. It's a really hard decision. So they finally made the decision to pull the plug, and when they pulled the plug, of course she was dead, but I believe she was already dead, that she was already passed. The only reason that she was breathing and living is because of the ventilator machine pumping in her lungs. And like reading more about this and understanding what your brain does for your body, and it really opened my eyes, because I really didn't understand that at first, but now it makes sense how our brain has a control of our heart, our lungs, and just our mind, our eyes, like everything. So I understand at that point you didn't realize, like, oh, you see her breathing, but really it was the machine keeping the air in her lungs. And of course it was not it was a sad moment, of course, because nobody's, like I said earlier, it's a really hard decision to make. But sometimes it's good to know or talk to your family if this decision ever comes, if you ever got hurt, and you can't say anything, like what will we do? Will we pull the plug if the doctor says you're brain dead, or even if you have like a coma, what would you do? So it's really good to talk about it with your family and have a plan, because you just never know what's going to happen, because she never had a plan, but it was her husband's decision, and her mother was upset, of course. She's losing her daughter, and it's not an easy decision at all. And I've really, this reading more about it and understanding the difference of certain stages opens my mind about